Hello everybody. Today, because of some recent events that have happened lately that I'm not going to get into, I wanted to share with you guys my favorite romantasies. I think this would just be something kind of fun. I get to yap about these because I actually don't talk about romantasy that much on my page, even though I've read quite a bit of it. There's definitely some I like more than others, so let's get into it. The first book I want to talk about is Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Now, it is true that it took me a while to read this. However, at no point was I like disliking the book. At every single turn, I was invested in this story and the relationship between the main character and this prince. So basically, the plot of this book is that she is, as the title suggests, the daughter of the Moon Goddess, and she has to leave her mother's side because she can't be found out that the Moon Goddess even has a daughter. So she ends up getting cast away from the moon and falls down into the Celestial Kingdom, and basically ends up being chosen to be a companion to the prince and get educated alongside the prince. And they develop a friendship, which later blossoms into something more. And I just really liked how this world was, basically. Like, the actual overall, like, mythology that was included in it, the characters, some were definitely more rich than others, but the ones that were well fleshed out were fleshed out really well. I liked the different worlds that were described in this book. I liked the different, like, settings, and the pacing's weird, admittedly, but I liked kind of how fast-paced the story felt, even if the book itself felt like it was slow-paced, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. It makes sense in my mind. But like I said, overall, I did enjoy this. I do want to read the second book, because this is a duology, I think. It is YA, so I feel like this is a great place to start if you just want something cozy and sweet and not, like, explicit or anything like that. So, yeah. The next one I want to talk about is one I feel like people don't talk about enough in the general bookish space, but that is Infinity Alchemist by Kacen Callender. I was really invested in this adventure. It's about this boy that wants to become an alchemist, but the only way you're allowed to practice alchemy is if you have a license, and he wasn't able to get into the school that gives you the license. So he is a janitor at that said school, and illegally studies alchemy when he doesn't think anyone's looking. Well, a professor at this school catches him, and they make him a deal. If you help me prove that my parents didn't massacre this whole village, I will teach you alchemy. Simple, right? The representation in this book is great. Like, this does have a very, like, a gender fluid character who literally uses alchemy to change their genders, and so it changes throughout the book and throughout the story. And on top of that, there is a bit of a poly relationship that also ends up coming up and developing. It was all just so interesting. It's definitely on the darker end, but I was so invested. I thought the alchemy in this was cool. Like, alchemy can be a hit or miss, because sometimes, like, alchemy can be kind of boring, and sometimes if it's written really well, it can be really exciting, and in this case, I thought it was exciting. I thought it was fun. I actually don't know. I feel like the other books in the series have come out at this point, but I haven't read them yet either, admittedly, because I'm trying to work through all the books I already have. But I do want to continue this series. I want to know what happens next. Like, and I want more people to read this too, and so they can be as excited about it as I am. This next one I'm recommending is the first book only, but Faybbound. I really enjoyed the first book. The second book, admittedly, not very good. However, I do believe this first one is worth reading, and then you can decide for yourself if you want to read the second one or not. Faybbound follows this elf as she's like a leader in this elf army, and there's some sort of like civil war going on between tribes. So she ends up making a big mistake that gets her exiled from her group or her tribe's people. So she ends up stumbling across and becoming a prisoner of the Fae, who everyone thought was extinct and no longer here. And it's an incredible story that has these awesome animal, like, I don't want to call them side characters because they're main characters, but what was the word I'm looking for? Sidekick. That's the word I'm looking for. Then again, like I said, though, they're main characters, are a main aspect of the story, but I think they're called obias? I may be wrong of how the pronunciation of that is, but they're so cute in my mind. I want one so bad. This is really fun. There is both a sapphic relationship and a straight relationship in it. All of the characters in this are characters of color, or at least for the most part. It's definitely a wide range of different, colored skin, different genders, different sexuality representations, even some like disability representation too. It really is great, and I'm sad about how the second book turned out. Next up, we're gonna do one that's more of a rom-com, definitely lighter vibes, definitely a lot more fun, and that is Assistant to the Villain. Like, so if you guys don't know, the author of this had a ongoing series where she pretended she was an assistant to a villain. And she ended up writing a book based off of that book series she was doing, and it is this book series. Now, admittedly, again, there are a lot of books that have come out in this that I have not read. I want to, though. Like, it's on my list to get to, for sure. It follows Evie, and she ends up stumbling into getting a job working for this villain, and the town only knows him as the villain, but he's supposedly evil, but honestly they're kind of bad at being evil. But it's just a lot of fun. There includes like a frog that holds up signs with like and that's how it communicates. It includes office drama, but also office drama in a fantasy setting. It deals with, longing, and both characters being into each other and not knowing the other one is also into him. It's just great. It's just great. If you want something fun, something lighthearted, and a fun series you can dive into, I recommend this. One for my enemy is this like Shakespearean Romeo and Juliet kind of situation between these two families of opposing witches. There is one family that's basically a patriarch family with the main patriarch, the father, and his 3 sons, and then the witch family, which is the other witch family, which is the matriarch family, where it's the I think it's the mom or the grandma, and I don't even remember how many daughters she has. It's a lot. It's like 9 or something like that. But there are multiple different Romeo and Juliet relationships in this. The prose are very lovely. It's like a very like enchanting book to read. It really sets the world and sets the drama. I don't know. I feel like this does count as a romantasy, but I'm not 100% sure, because this is definitely more fantasy heavy. But you cannot deny that nothing would happen if the romance wasn't in it, because it is a Romeo and Juliet kind of retelling. So that is my justification for including it in this video. And I wanted to talk about it, because I feel like especially when I read it, I didn't even give this book myself enough love. But when I think back about what happened in this book, I think fond things about it. So, yeah. And like I said, it's basically 2 warring witch families. There are multiple star-crossed lovers, and it even includes some weird stuff with death. I'm not going to get more into it because I feel like I wanted to explain that plot point, but I realized if I fully went through with it, that it'd be spoilers. So that's all you're going to get on that front. Final one I want to talk about for this video, and that is An Education in Malice. Now, I don't know 100% if this counts as a romantasy, because I feel like the fantasy part of it is vampires, and so I feel like it can kind of, that's kind of a weird gray area, right? So I'm going to say it's romantasy for the purpose of this video. It's a Carmilla retelling, which probably puts it more, again, in a little bit of a horror category, but I don't care. They're vampires, there's magic, whatever. And it's these 2 students are both vying for the attention of their professor while also falling in love with each other. I think they're both poetry students, or they're like writing students of some caliber. and they're the best in their class, so that's why they're both like fighting for this teacher's attention. But it is it's a beautiful continuation of the world that Dowry of Blood was, which is by the same author, which was the one about Dracula's wife is writing letters to him after she killed him about their life together. So this follows the same vampires that were in that novel, but not the actual same vampires. The same type of vampires, but there's only one special appearance from that book. And if you hadn't read that book, you would miss it. So it's not a requirement to read that book before you read this one. Just want to get that out there. But the romance that is in this, though, I think is beautiful. So there's that. I didn't include them in the video because I know a lot of people are tired of these books, but I have to give an honorable shout out to SJM's books, first off, that you can see right here. I do love all of her book series as well, but I know people are tired of us talking about her, so I didn't include her in this video, but it kind of goes without saying that when I talk about my favorite Romantasy books, these are on there. Along with the other ones I didn't mention, Fourth Wing. I am a huge fan of Fourth Wing. I thought the Fourth Wing books are a lot of fun. I got really invested in them, and I love the world. I love the dragons. I'm such a dragon person. That's why I have a dragon tattoo. Oh, can you see it? There he is. But yeah, so just that little disclaimer. But thank you so much for watching if you stayed to the end. There's definitely more Romantasies I like than just these. These are just ones I have physical copies of. I could definitely make a part 2 with some of the books I don't have physical copies of. If anyone is interested, let me know. If not, then... And like I said, this rose up from some conversations going on the internet lately. Obviously, I'm a Romantasy reader, but I don't think Romantasy readers are dumb. I think that the conversations people are trying to have surrounding just this idea, they all come from weird places, okay? That's all I'm gonna say to address it. But definitely give these a try. I don't think you'd be disappointed. And I'll see you guys in the next videos. Goodbye.